Okay folks, some terminology to help us make sure we're always describing the same thing. Our stitches wrap around the needle and have two parts. They have the bit that's nearest us, which I will call the front leg of the stitch, and the bit at the back, which I will call the back leg of the stitch. So front leg of the stitch, back leg of the stitch. So holding one needle in each hand, I'm going to put the point of the right hand needle through the front leg of the stitch from back to front, and we'll call that in. We'll take this yarn, we'll take it under and over the bottom needle, so that's over. So we'll do those again. This is the knit stitch and we're going in. Just hold both needles, over, and now we're going to put a finger on the end of that bottom needle and just rock it through the stitch, through, and then slide it off the needle, and we have knitted a stitch. Let's do that again, going into the front leg of the stitch from back to front, in, over, finger on the end, through and off, slide it off. Do it again, slide the needle in from back to front, in, yarn over, push through, slide off, and again, in, over, through and off. Now you notice that the wool is just weaving in and out my fingers, and I'm just pushing it in place with my index finger when I need to. Let's do that again. In, from back to front on the front leg of the stitch, over, through and off, and again, in from back to front, yarn in the right hand, under and over, index finger in the front of the needle, push it through, slide off, and again, in, over, through, off, from back to front on the front leg, in, yarn under and over, index finger on the point, push it through, slide off, in, over, through, and look, I've split the yarn there. If that happens, just pull the needle out and start it again. In, over, fingertip on the top, push it through the loop and off, and the last one, in, over, through and off. And when we finish that, you'll notice that the tail is now at the back of the work. So we're going to move the needles from hand to hand so that the empty needle is again on the right hand side, and we are ready to knit a second row. And it's exactly the same process. In from back to front on the front leg, under and over, index finger on the front, push it through and up, slide it off, in, over, through and off, in, over, through and off, in, over, through and off. Now I'm not worrying about how tight or slack these stitches are at the moment, but I want them pretty slack. I don't want to be struggling to try and put the wool through. So in, over, through and off. And if you can keep them slack, it makes life easier. In, over, through and off. In, over, through and off. A couple more. In, over, through and off. In, over, through and off. And my 10th one, in, over, through and off. And we now have 2 rows of knitting, and we've started an all knitting stitch. Every row is all knit. This is called garter stitch. This is the stitch known to knitters as garter stitch.